All right, guys, go ahead.
With 8 games left in the pre-Christmas part of the schedule, the emphasis to make a run in the league and move up in the standings and get some momentum going there.
Kevin, I'm not sure if that's an emphasis. I'd like to play better in league games and get league game results. But you've heard me say this before, and maybe it's ducking the question. But we're gonna take the small picture approach versus the big picture. And I think what you're referring to with 8 games left is the big picture approach or a bigger picture. And we're gonna focus on tomorrow. To get closer to your question, I want us to get results in the league. Yes. Do I expect us to make a run in the league in the last 8 games? That's not a focus of ours. So I hope we start to get results within the league. And I do think we've played better hockey than the 1-5 record indicates within league games. But the fact is our record is 1-5 and we need to do better than that.
Is it almost a psychological thing, or is that?
It's probably a combination of both, because some of the things we're doing wrong are physical mistakes, but I do think a lot of the physical mistakes we're making are based on losing focus psychologically and mentally. And so I do think it's something we need to get over and get through. But that all goes back to all that confidence and the belief that we're trying to instill in this program, and finding ways to win and finding ways to make good things happen versus bad things. It's all part of it to me. It's all connected. And I think at times there is, some psychological parts to that. We had a talk with some of the guys today, and compared the Lake Superior weekend to the Ferris and Notre Dame weekends, and the comment was, we play well against Lake Superior historically, and we don't play well against Notre Dame and Ferris historically. So now we're talking historically, which we obviously have to get away from that, because historically, meaning the last 5 or 6 years, we haven't played well against anybody, looking at the stats, So I do think there's some psychological components of things we're struggling with right now. And again, that's a daily process. It's a daily focus. It's a daily concern. We want to make these things habit, that we're doing things properly. And that's a mental focus and a physical execution. So that's what we've been talking about.
Putting the fact that you've had the puck a lot more than last year, and Hammy's goaltending aside, what elements are you most happy with defensively for the improved defensive play?
The elements, I think we take away time and space better within our defensive zone play. I think our habits in all 3 zones are better in terms of defensive posture and defensive positioning, whether it be body positioning or stick positioning. I think we jam up a lot more plays than we have in the past based on our stick positioning. And specifically back to the D zone, I think to have that structure or that system been in place for a year and 12 games now, I think it's just easier. We've got players helping players. I think the overall understanding of the system is better. So I've been happy with that. I think guys are getting it better. We obviously, until we score more goals, we're going to need to defend at a pretty high level, which so far we've been able to do.
And then, how does having the puck more help? I mean,
I think having the puck more obviously helps. It's we've joked about it before with us that you don't have to be a hockey expert to realize the more you have the puck, the less the other team does, the better defensively you'll be. I do think when we're on our game, we can cycle the puck okay and keep control of the puck, and there's more hockey plays being made, in particular through the neutral zone and in the offensive zone when we're on, and that obviously helps. It hasn't shown in creating goals yet, but I do think it will show in that. But it obviously helps in our I know looking back to times in the past, you spend so much energy trying to keep the puck out of your own net and just hanging on, shift in and shift out, that you have no energy to spend offensively. And I think this year we've had more energy consumed in the offensive zone than only in the defensive zone. So that all of those things play into, you know, being a better defensive team. And I'm assuming that you're basing that on our stats at this point, and you know, the stats say we're a little tighter defensively, so we want to stay on that with that focus.
Miami's had 2 good weekends back to back now. Is that indicative, or the results indicative of the way they're playing?
Yeah, you know, I think you talk about a team that's playing pretty good defensive hockey right now, it's them. When you look at their line of defense being the 6D and the 2 goalies, whomever it is, you're talking about older people that have had lots of winning and lots of experience, whether it's Cody or Connor and net. And the D-Corps most nights has been 3 seniors and 3 juniors. You look at the seniors, they've been through 2 Frozen Fours and a championship game, and you know, winning the playoffs last year, and even the junior class has a Frozen Four and a playoff championship under their belt. So it's a very veteran group, and I think it's starting there. They're looking at every game and every opportunity as a championship type opportunity and game, and they're blocking shots and playing desperate hockey. And you know, I think not the challenge is to score goals, but without, you know, Carter and Neely and Canoni there, it's not as natural. Riley Smith is as good of an offensive player as there is in this league, regardless of who you're comparing him to. He's dangerous every time he's on the ice. That's something that we have to be aware of. But I think they're starting this refocus, if you will, after the start. You know, those 2 games in Alaska started with the way they played defense. I mean, 2-1 both games, and then there were low-scoring games, at least low-scoring in terms of what Michigan got last weekend. So I think they've started from the defense and moved out. And they're a team that, you know, you don't pay attention to what you need to defensively, and they'll hurt you offensively, but I do think they're defending very well right now.
What, from your perspective, are the keys to the series?
I think play with the puck is a huge piece of this series for us. Miami will push the pace and they will come at us and so on and so forth, but I do think it'll be a tight checking series for the most part. What we've got in trouble with, in particular over that 4-game stretch at home here with Notre Dame and Ferris, is that those 3 or 4 plays, those 3 or 4 decisions on both sides of the puck, whether it be offensively or defensively, that we've made, whether that decision was we got a penalty, whether it was poor play with the puck. We really have to be good through the neutral zone with the puck. We have to be good in the defensive zone once we are able to get the puck to make a play with it. I think just overall our puck play has to be really good. Like, we're going to have to be ready to move the puck in the power play. So our play with the puck is going to have to be you know, ramped up a notch. And I'm not saying ramped up a notch from what we've been. It's a focus. We cannot be sloppy with the puck. We cannot be not strong on our sticks and not strong on pucks, because this is a team that will take advantage of that. And I think that's going to be key. You know, I would really like to win the special teams game. There is no difference than any other weekend, but the special teams game are going to be huge. I think their penalty kill is extremely hot right now. I think your power play is still a work in progress if you look at the numbers. So the special teams are going to be key, because there's going to be opportunities for both teams. And then the other thing, Kevin, this is tougher to measure. Our guys can't get overwhelmed by the stage. You know, this has been a pretty good program over the past few years. I don't think Bowling Green's had a whole lot of success there in terms of results. You know, there's going to be people in the buildings, you know, and cheering loud and all that stuff. We cannot get overwhelmed by that. That's just is what it is. Just another night in the CCHA, let's go play. And if that is good enough to get the result, fine. If it isn't, fine. But we don't want to choke or not play a good game because we get overwhelmed by the stage. And that's something we've talked about. And I don't know how to control it, other than to say, don't let it happen. So I do think that has something to do with this weekend. And that's not necessarily something you can just measure and look at.
You had mentioned after Friday night's game about making sure Hammy was ready to go and get him back to where he has been. You good about him going to the series?
Well, I feel good about him all the time.
Right.
Yeah. I think Andrew is a half a second away from being right on top of his game all the time. I mean, we're going back to the typical fundamental stuff with him: fight for every puck in practice. Maybe compete a little bit harder. Just little things to get back on top of his game. I know he's checked in with all the people in his life that are important to him, whether it's parents or goalie coach back home or whatever it may be. So I feel good about the goaltending situation going into this weekend. If that goaltending battle between our goalie and theirs can be a wash, that's good for us, because I know their goaltending is going to be solid, if not better than that. And I have the full trust that Andrew will be ready to go and be solid, if not better than that as well.
Do you expect to have Dan DeSalvo this weekend?
Yeah, we do, yeah. As of right now, we expect, other than Rodriguez and Goalie, which are long-term injuries, or longer term, I think we're good to go physically.
And any decision been made on why it's surgery or not to have?
No, there's been no decision, but I think we're really, really close to where we need to be in terms of having a game plan in place. And I know Wyatt's in a better place mentally, and I think he sees the light at the end of the tunnel, so that's great for all of us.
Do you expect him to play this year?
I do, absolutely, yeah.
From your point of view, what's it like going back to Miami, playing, coaching a different team?
Yeah, it's just my vocabulary isn't deep enough to know the word, but it's a different feeling, because that place means so much to me and my family. It's not just a place that I had some personal experiences at. My one son was born there. My older son, that's all he knows or all he knew before Bowling Green. We have a lot of friends there outside of the hockey program and outside of the university. It'll always be a special place for me, but I know I'll speak for Barry Schutte as well. It's a special place for him and his family. So it'll be an exciting weekend. I think I'd be lying if I told you that it wouldn't be a great place to go and have some success just because of my history there. But we know it's going to be very difficult, and they're going to be fired up and all that kind of stuff. And I still have what I feel anyway are relationships with some of those players. I mean, it's getting less and less, but even some of those freshmen I had a hand in recruiting, never coached them, so I don't have the same relationship. But I know that senior class are guys that mean a lot to me, and I think I'm a part of their life too. So that means something, to coach against kids that you really like. Last year was hard because that senior class was really close to me. And I guess hard's not the right word, but it's a different feeling. It's something that I've never been through before. And I think no matter how many years we go back to Miami, it's going to be the same thing, because it'll always be the place where I kind of got started and where we've got so much history.
In some ways, does it make it more difficult for you because if you go someplace else, you just focus?
Yeah,
on hockey, all your distractions?
absolutely. I talked about that to somebody on the phone earlier today. Yes, it does make it more difficult. I find that I don't get so crazy before the game where I can't, no one can be around me and I'm so intense and all that stuff. I'm intense 24/7, so I think I take time off before the game. It's the calm before the storm. But there are some distractions there, and they're good distractions. They're people that you're there for a limited time, and you want to say hello and spend time with as many people as possible. But it does make it more difficult. I mean, we're staying in Hamilton, Ohio, which is about 15, 20 minutes away from Oxford, and that wasn't on purpose. There was some hotel issues where we just couldn't get into one in Oxford and he'd be able to eat and all that stuff. So that may be better, being out of town. But it definitely brings some different challenges, to the table. But that's okay. We'll focus on the two games and going there, the business trip, just like any other trip we have, and hopefully we're ready to play well.
That's good.
Good.
All right, Bruce, thank you.